Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. I hope you're doing well today. It is March the 7th, 2020. I wanted to address a comment that a gentleman, Rodrigo Elqueta, put up on a video where I was talking about the sword of cleavage. And in this video, I was talking about the esoteric view of why the ideological differences politically, the ideological differences in the way to handle the environment, for instance, are so pronounced now, and the divisions are so great that nothing's getting done, right? Especially politically. And even, ecologically, right? You look at the ideological differences in how to handle the environment, and which is leading to nothing getting done, really. You have those who see we need to, save our only planetary home, and those who think that, everything's fine, right? So it's, and then there's everybody in the middle, which kind of addresses what Rodrigo was talking about. But Jesus said 2,000 years ago, I come not to bring peace, but to bring a sword, to set father against son, mother against daughter, brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, or something like that. Now, esoterically, what Jesus was talking about was not a actual sword. It wasn't a metal sword that he would carry. It's the sword of love, the sword of cleavage, the Christ principle that flows out of the Christ and out into the world and tremendous potency, especially now that Maitreya is on TV. And what happens is, temporarily, it causes the divisions that we see. Now, eventually, humanity is going to have to wake up to the problems that are facing humanity and solve those problems, and we all have to do it together. It can't just be one group that does it. And so it kind of goes along the lines of what Rodrigo was talking about when he said, Mr. Creme said, complacency is one of the main barriers in the present attitudes of the people. So I think one way to analyze the divisional state of things is to look where the opinions are originated on complacency. And Benjamin Creme talked about this a lot, where complacency and inertia, hands down, are the single biggest barriers to change. And because of the complacency of the people, in our world leaders and even just the average person, all the complacency that we see, all the inertia that we see, is the reason why we're not tackling these problems. And so inertia is a huge thing. And it's also, like I said, it's also coming from the fact that the sword of cleavage is in full tilt boogie right now. But eventually it will lead to a more synthesized and harmonious society. But right now it's causing the divisions that we're seeing in the world. Looking at the United States politics, right? Well, I was just reading online, the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, said that if a Democrat is elected president, he will not put forth any of their legislation to be debated in the Senate. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how great the legislation could possibly be. Because they're a Democrat, he's not going to even listen to it. And here in the States, the Senate Majority Leader has the sole right to decide what is debated on the Senate floor. So if he doesn't want legislation to go through the Senate, it doesn't go through the Senate, and nobody can say otherwise. There's no voting process to overturn that. It is what it is. If he doesn't want to hear it, they don't talk about it. And it's the same thing in the House. The Speaker of the House can decide yay or nay, and nobody can tell now it's Nancy Pelosi. Nobody can tell Nancy Pelosi, like, yes, we need to listen to this. If she doesn't want to talk about it on the House floor, it doesn't get discussed. So basically what he's saying is, if a Democrat's elected president, nothing will get done for 4 years, is what he said. So there, we got that to look forward to, right? And therefore, that's the problem that we're having today. All the undermined, all the corruption that's going on both sides, on the Democratic side and the Republican side, is, all the underhandedness, all the gerrymandering, all the things that are going on are leaving the people out in the cold. But it's keeping those groups of people in power. Even if the people want change, they don't want to hear it. So even if all the people in the world, all the people in the United States want to have something change, if Mitch McConnell doesn't want to talk about it, it doesn't get discussed. It's maddening, how the obstructionism that goes on both sides for change, but it's really coming from complacency, like Rodrigo's saying. Now, I wanted to segue in and end this video in a positive note, reading one of Benjamin Creme's master's articles that he published, that was published in Share International in September 2007. And it kind of talks about how things are going to change, how the situation is going to change, especially because Maitreya is on TV, but because of the energy of who and what Maitreya is and how it's affecting the hearts and minds of people. And anyway, so hope you listen to it. Hope you find it fascinating. But anyway, it's entitled Mans Divinity, and it was published in Share International in September of 2007. Deep in the consciousness of all men is the awareness of the divine. With some, it is nearer the surface of the mind. In others, it lies relatively unknown and undiscovered until some major event or stimulus awakens it from sleep. Thus some affirm readily the existence of the divine, while many reject often heatedly the reality of all that cannot be known, measured, and understood by their five senses. Today, many are sensing more and more the presence of Maitreya, whose energies penetrate all the planes of consciousness. They may know not the name or even of his existence, but responding to his energy are aware of a new and spiritual climate in the world. They find it difficult to explain, but know with growing certainty that they live in the aura of the divine, and that all will be well. They know, too, that they are not alone, that their prayers are being answered, and that something wonderful and sacred is happening on planet Earth. They sense that the stressful and dangerous conditions of today are nearing their end, that beyond the fear and failures of our time is a new and better world to be fashioned, and that it will be so fashioned. Meanwhile, Maitreya prepares to engage with all that hinders man's progress and well-being, with all that prevents the expression of his divinity, and also with man's own fear and frailty. He will show that man has come from the highest source and is equipped with all the potential of gods, that freed from fear which holds him in thrall, man can build a civilization worthy of his divinity and creative genius. He will show that fear and lack of trust alone condemn men to the present dangerous conditions which threaten their existence, that the simple act of sharing will bring justice and peace to their troubled world, that men must recognize themselves as one group, sons of the one Father. Thus will he speak. Thus will he call on men to change. How will men respond? How will they find Maitreya's analysis of their position and problems? Maitreya is not alone in urging change and reform in the world. Many wise men and women are responding to his thoughts and energy and propound widely his ideas. Slowly but surely, these ideas are taking root and educating large masses of hitherto uninterested and uncommitted people. Thus is Maitreya's way of being prepared. Even so, how can Maitreya touch the hearts of the millions needed to change direction? The answer lies in the potency of his energies. Never before has a teacher of such power stood before the world. With each word uttered, his beneficent force flows from heart to heart. Useless and unnecessary is argument and debate. His truth calls forth the truth in the heart of the listener, and in the crucible of their shared divinity is recognized as truth itself. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.